Howdy neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at one of my favorite characters in all of DC. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Joker. More importantly, we're going to be taking a look at everything that was going on during the Suicide Squad and what led to Jared Leto's performance as the Joker being so poorly received. Now, a lot of us could blame the director, a lot of us could blame the writers, but those of us in the know blame the higher-ups at DC and Warner Brothers for this travesty of the film. Not to say that it's a complete travesty. I enjoyed it. I like it. I own it on Blu-ray, and I'm looking forward to James Gunn's cut of the Suicide Squad coming out next year. But I was extremely disappointed in what Jared Leto did in the movie. And I'm a big fan of Jared Leto. Big fan of Jared Leto. Big fan of the Joker. Completely disappointed by this movie, but that's okay because it can still be fixed. And the way you fix it is by fixing the narrative. Now, we know that Harley Quinn isn't going to get a sequel to her Birds of Prey movie because it seriously underperformed in the box office. And we know that James Gunn generally has a pretty good hit or miss reputation at the theater. It's always a hit. We love James Gunn's movies. And so we can pretty much assume that the Suicide Squad will be a big step up from the original and could even possibly spark a third installment in the series, especially if the Snyder Cut of Justice League gains any traction. And between you and me, I'm pretty sure that movie's going to get a lot of clout. One of the first things I'd like to address in this theory is that Jared Leto doesn't typically look like anybody that you would cast to play the Joker. Now, I know you really shouldn't judge a book by its cover, especially since nobody believed in Heath Ledger as the Joker, and then he came out and just blew everyone's mind. But Jared Leto, if I were a casting director and I was going to typecast somebody, I would look at him and go, you know, that guy looks like Robin. Not just any Robin. I mean, he could be any Robin, but specifically Dick Grayson. If I had to cast Jared Leto in a Batman movie, he would be one version of Dick Grayson at some other point in his life, which is why I couldn't understand why he was cast as the Joker in this movie, but that is exactly where this theory comes into play. So the theory that Jared Leto's Joker is one of the Robins actually came about before Batman vs. Superman or Suicide Squad had even hit the theaters. Reddit user Jason G169 came up with this theory while watching the trailers for both of the movies. In the trailer for Batman vs. Superman, we get to see one of the Robin suits on display in the Batcave with an ominous voiceover by Bruce Wayne stating how many good guys are left. How many of them stayed that way? Now, at surface value, you could take it to think that he's talking about Harvey Two-Face, because Harvey Dent does start off as a good guy, the White Knight, and then gets destroyed and becomes Two-Face by the Joker in many different versions of the Batman lore. But it could also imply that one of the Robins, in fact, became one of the Jokers. Canonically, this has happened at least 3 times with Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake in the Batman series. Dick Grayson, the very first Robin, became one of the Joker's personas after being fired by Batman during Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Strikes Back comic. Jason Todd, the second orphan to take on the mantle of Robin, served with Batman until being beaten to death with a crowbar by the Joker in A Death in the Family. He was later resurrected in the Lazarus Pit and then took on the title of the Red Hood. Now, the Red Hood is actually the Joker's original criminal identity. So there's the second Robin to take on the title. And then, of course, let's not forget Tim Drake, easily the most popular version of the Robin to become one of the Jokers. During the Batman Beyond animated movie Return of the Joker, we find a young Tim Drake being kidnapped by the Joker and Harley Quinn, beaten, tortured, brainwashed, and reprogrammed into becoming Joker Jr. The cruelty of this joke was to have him, in fact, kill Batman. And it's only when he's ordered to kill the Batman that he's able to break through the conditioning and shoot the Joker dead himself. Now, I'm not here to delve into Jason J169's theory on why Robin became the Joker and why it's Jason Todd, because I don't think it's Jason Todd. I don't think it's Tim Drake. I believe that it's Dick Grayson, and I believe I've got enough evidence to prove it. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking, but Dick Grayson's dead in the Batman vs. Superman continuity. We see his tombstone outside of Wayne Manor at the very beginning of the film. Well, this doesn't necessarily mean that that was Robin Dick Grayson. The tombstone reads Richard John Grayson, which is in fact Dick Grayson's full name, and it gives the years of 1982 to the year 2000, meaning he died relatively young. He wasn't even 20 yet. And this doesn't mean that that's the Robin that we know and love from the series. What it means is that he was named after somebody else who had this exact same name. This happens a lot. I myself have been to a cemetery and seen David blank blank on the tombstone. It's my first, middle, and last name, and it really freaks me out. But I was named after a cousin, and it just goes to show that our Robin, Dick Grayson, could have just been named after his father's dead brother. And so there's that. In some recent interviews, Suicide Squad director David Ayer has in fact finally let us know the identity of the Robin suit that was on display in Batman vs. Superman. Surprise, surprise, it was in fact Dick Grayson's. So this brings me to the beginning narrative of my own little bit of film theory / fan fiction for a pre-Suicide Squad situation, like what set them up. And so my thoughts are this. When you're making a movie out of a comic book or even a novel, things that work on the written page generally might not work on the silver screen, and you have to sacrifice and cherry pick things that make your narrative work. And so that's exactly what I did while putting this together, was picking the best parts of 3 different versions of Robins to make one amalgamation, which is the Dick Grayson character that I believe Jared Leto is in Suicide Squad. So, first of all, let's take a look at the cemetery where the original Dick Grayson was buried at Wayne Manor. He's right there with the Waynes, so let's assume that in this continuity that the Waynes and the Graysons are related to each other, and that's why they're in a family plot. It explains why when Dick Grayson's parents passed away, he would have gone to live with a member of the family that could afford to take him in, and who better to afford to take you in than your single multi-billionaire cousin, Bruce Wayne. So, let's say pre-Suicide Squad, Robin, Dick Grayson / Jared Leto, is out on patrol and gets kidnapped by the Joker. And just like in Return of the Joker, Joker has an agenda. He takes Dick Grayson, he beats him, he tortures him, he violently destroys him, brainwashes him, and reprograms him in a very much a Joker Jr.-esque situation. Dyes his hair green, throws him into the vat of chemicals, starts tatting up his body wherever there were scarring, gave him the grill because he knocked out all of his teeth with the crowbar, put the smile on his hand so that he'd be able to smile still for him. But then, somewhere, Robin got free. Robin didn't just get free, but it was an opportunistic moment, and he kills the Joker. He actually is responsible for the death of the Joker pre-Suicide Squad, and he escapes, finds out that the Joker didn't have him hidden in some secret, elaborate lair. He was in the heart of Gotham. It probably stung a little bit to be so close to Batman and not be found by the Batman. So let's assume that Joker had Robin for maybe a couple of months of torture. He had to break him in every way imaginable. In the time that he's been gone, Batman couldn't find him while he was hidden inside Gotham and had let him be replaced by either Tim Drake or Jason Todd. For the sake of my argument, we're going to go with Jason Todd, as he was canonically, really wobbly, one of those two, the second in line to replace Dick Grayson after he left the Robin suit. So, Robin's feeling extremely jealous. He's come home to find out that he'd been hidden in Gotham all along. Batman's moved on and replaced him. There's resentment, there's jealousy, but at the same time, he's dealing with a lot of emotions, having just escaped the torturous clutches of the Joker. So, at this point, Batman and Alfred convince Robin to go to seek mental help. He needs therapy and all kinds of physical therapy to get his mind and his body back on track before he can become the Robin. And this is, I feel, where it takes its dark turn, because he takes himself to Arkham State Hospital, turns himself in, but who's his psychiatrist but Dr. Harley Quinn? And we all know exactly how big of a freak for the Joker she is. She would have done anything in the world to be close to the Joker, and now she finds out that Boy Wonder here killed him, but also spent a month or more of time in close personal contact with the Joker. So Harley Quinn thinks to herself, well, I'm going to Build-A-Bear my own boyfriend and make my own Joker. Electroshock therapy's Robin, deletes all of his memories, and this is actually a scene described in the Suicide Squad trailer where Jared Leto's Joker is talking to Harley Quinn about how she fried his mind and took away his sacred memories and every little bits and fragments of who he was and erased them. And that's electroshock therapy. I mean, that's specifically the description for what happens when you're on electroshock therapy. And we know that Harley Quinn uses false stories and lies to manipulate any man in her life. And if you've got such an opportunity to create your own Joker out of Robin, why wouldn't you? It would also explain why Joker appears to be maybe 15 or so years younger than Batman in this movie. Canonically, I believe that the Joker is at least 15 to 20 years older than Batman, so it didn't really make sense that Jared Leto's Joker was so young. So that right there, that is exactly my precursor to Suicide Squad. I believe that is pretty much what went down, and it describes the Joker's tattoos perfectly, as the original Joker would have put the smile on his hand and all the ha-ha-haing around his body. So once he'd become the Joker, I think that Harley Quinn convinced him to kill Robin. How poetic. Seeing as how he was a Robin that was tortured and kidnapped by the Joker, he would be the new Joker to torture and kidnap Robin, the Robin who replaced him as Robin. That little teardrop on his face, that's not a tattoo for J for Joker, it's J for Jason Todd, because serial killers are extremely narcissistic and controlling and love to take little mementos from their serial kills, and so that J on his face is to let us know that Jason Todd was one of his first kills as the Joker. Now, the jester on his chest with the crown on him, I believe that's symbolic of him killing the Joker. It's a clown and the jester hat that looks like a crown, and it's a skull wearing it, so it could symbolize that the real King Joker in this narrative is dead. And the Robin tattoo on his arm is also to commemorate him and Harley Quinn killing off Batman's Robin. So that's, like I said, all of our pre-Suicide Squad stuff. So where do you go from there? I don't know. I'm not really a screenwriter. I just come up with ideas and hope to God that somebody can do the best with them. If I were a filmmaker, I would put this into the third Suicide Squad movie as a bit of a reveal for what happened beforehand, and it would also help set up a redemption story for Jared Leto's Joker. Now imagine a scene where the Joker and Harley Quinn have gotten Batman tied up and incapacitated and completely at his mercy, and like in the the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker animated movie, this is when Joker Robin breaks through his brainwashing and mental conditioning and kills the Joker. But in the movie, this is where Robin breaks through the conditioning, realizes the mistakes he's made, and is about to go to the light side again and help Batman when, surprise plot twist, Harley Quinn blows his brains out. Why? Because nobody quits Harley Quinn. And I mean, it really would redeem Jared Leto's Joker to make this part of the narrative. And I also think it would escalate Harley Quinn as a villain to have her create the Joker out of a Robin and then kill him when he breaks through his conditioning. It's so evil. It's so good that I would be willing to watch. I'd watch it. And I'm not just saying it because I thought of it. I'm saying it because it could, in fact, fix the DCEU. Well, Stallions, that brings us to the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed my little theory. If you did, please like this video, give me a subscribe, and I promise to keep putting out more and more better quality videos as time goes on. Next week, I'll be delving into the world of Doctor Who. If you're a Doctor Who fan and a Torchwood fan, you're really going to enjoy this one because I finally found the whereabouts of Torchwood 4 and who's been running it. So, until next week, Stallions, be excellent to each other. This is David Victorious signing out.